Political analyst Ross Feingold is joining us now live from Taipei to discuss Turkey's diplomatic efforts in South Asia during Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan's four-day visit to the region. Good afternoon, Ross. Thanks for joining us today.
Good afternoon.
Now, how does President Erdoğan's visit to Malaysia, Indonesia and Pakistan strengthen Turkey's diplomatic efforts regarding global security, particularly in relation to the ongoing crisis in Gaza?
The interesting thing there is some of these countries, such as Malaysia or Indonesia or Pakistan, they've also sought to be leaders in the Islamic world on various issues. For example, Malaysia has long been very outspoken on the Israel-Palestine dispute, even though they're so far away. They're not in the Middle East or in Southeast Asia. And to a lesser extent, Indonesia has been very supportive of the Palestinians over many decades as well. On the other hand, Turkey is looking to be a leader on this and other issues, looking to be seen as a leader in the Islamic world and also as a cultural leader. And frankly, some of this also has to do with business and domestic inbound tourism in the Islamic world, inbound tourism to Turkey, that is, from fellow Muslim countries. So there's certainly a lot to talk about when President Erdoğan visits these countries.
Mm-hmm. And in what ways can Erdoğan's discussions with leaders in Malaysia, Indonesia and Pakistan help shape a unified stance on the Palestinian cause amidst rising global tensions?
Again, I think that has a lot to do with the leadership that Turkey has shown on this issue over recent years, and trying to get Malaysia and Indonesia and Pakistan to really follow along Turkey's own initiatives and not go off and do their own initiatives. And this would allow Turkey to continue to provide a leadership role, which I think is very clear that they see Turkey sees itself as having a leadership role on this issue. And other countries far away, like Pakistan, Malaysia, and Indonesia, can look to Turkey to continue to be a leader on this issue.
Okay, and as you said, these countries also seek to be leaders in these issues, particularly the Palestine cause. How do Erdoğan's meetings in these countries influence international pressure on Israel to halt its expansion of strategies in Gaza and the Middle East?
Well, certainly it would keep a united front among predominantly Muslim countries. And from the perspective of what Trump has proposed with Gaza, we know that Muslim countries are against this, as are the people of Gaza. So it's certainly timely for President Erdoğan to be making this trip and to ensure that there's a united front among Muslim countries when it comes to what we like to call the day after in Gaza, the day after the war ends, and hopefully it will end soon, and what will be the go-forward governance model of Gaza. And again, it looks like Turkey is trying to play a leading role in ensuring that the Muslim world maintains a united front.
Now, my last question, what role do President Erdoğan and his counterparts see for Muslim majority nations in contributing to both peace and security in Gaza and the broader Middle Eastern region?
That remains to be seen, specifically when it comes to Gaza. Obviously, there's going to be a need for an enormous amount of money for rebuilding, and it's probably going to fall on the predominantly Muslim countries, whether that's in the Middle East or further away, like Pakistan, Malaysia, and Indonesia, to fund reconstruction. And the relevant stakeholders really haven't had, in my opinion, a serious conversation about that. But that time will come soon. Hopefully, if the ceasefire continues, then relevant stakeholders are going to have to talk about how to rebuild Gaza, and then they're going to be looking to countries that have made themselves into leaders on this issue, whether that's Turkey or Malaysia, for example. It's going to be time for them to put up money to back up their words as leaders on this issue.
Okay. Well, now, I did say that was my last question, but I'll ask you one other thing. It's been on the headlines since these words were uttered by Trump. What's your analysis about his idea of all Palestinians vacating the Gaza Strip and rebuilding the area as the US president sees fit? What's both his and Israel's end game here?
I think the end game is to put pressure on other Muslim countries, whether that's the Gulf states, Turkey, or predominantly Muslim countries further away. With Trump, a lot of things, as we know, are negotiation, and this was his starting point. But I think what Trump wants to avoid is the United States having to fund reconstruction in Gaza. I don't think that'll be very palatable to President Trump. So this was a negotiating tactic, and we'll see if the countries that have funded government, the Hamas-led government in Gaza in the past, such as the Gulf states, will they continue to fund reconstruction in Gaza going forward? Right now, that's a big question mark.
Okay, Ross, thanks for joining us once again. It's always a pleasure.